Hi, my name's Alira and this is my reflection of our final live streaming segment. Our segment was called The Next Stop, based on Wollongong's 55A bus route. The concept was to take viewers on a journey through some of Wollongong's most local and recognisable places, while introducing them to people who shape its culture, music and community. The aim was to create something informative but also fun, especially for audiences who may not be familiar with Wollongong. We wanted to highlight the welcoming atmosphere of the city and show it through real voices, performances, and live experiences. The segment followed a bus journey format where the host acted as a bus driver, picking up passengers and stopping at different locations. At the first stop, we ran an adapted version of our Spill the Tea segment where passengers shared opinions and hot takes about Wollongong. I participated as a passenger in this section. From there, we travelled to the Undercurrent where local artist Jack and Maya performed original music. This was followed by an interview with Jack where he spoke about his music and his connection to Wollongong. The next stop was then Thursday night markets where we explored local culture and history. We interviewed Sophie from Viet on the Go, who shared her cultural background and how she introduces Vietnamese food to the community through her shop. She also prepared a banh mi for an audience member to try. The segment then returned to the bus before closing with another live performance from artist Lily. Overall, I think one of the strongest parts of the segment was how it showcased real people from the Wollongong community. The Undercurrent section in particular worked really well because it felt like a real live performance experience and created strong audience engagement. However, the bus concept itself was also one of the most challenging parts. A lot of the time was spent trying to make the structure work, which meant other sections didn't always get enough rehearsal time. At times, the narrative was a bit difficult to follow, but despite this, it did help give the segment a clear structure and connected all the different parts into a single journey, which contributed to the overall flow of the show. Within the group, I contributed in several different ways. On screen, I was a passenger in the bus sequence and part of the Spill the Tea segment. Behind the scenes, I worked in marketing and created a promotional video for our social media page. I also assisted Thea in her role as floor director and extra support when needed during production. In addition, I also wrote the first draft for our script for the introduction of the Spill the Tea segment. One of the biggest creative decisions I made was suggesting that we scrap the original imposter game idea. I felt it was too complicated and would be difficult to execute within our time limit. Instead, I suggested focusing on the Spill the Tea segment, which we had already tested in earlier experiments and knew worked well. I then helped develop the script to fit into the bus journey structure. One of the biggest challenges in our collaboration was definitely communication. A clear example of this was when changes were made to parts of the script on the day of production, without informing everyone. Some actors, including myself, were unaware of the changes, and this also affected the audio and technical teams in the control room. It created confusion and disruption during preparation, and in the end, we decided just to stick with the original script to the segment, so this segment could run smoothly. Despite this, there were also strong examples of teamwork. I worked closely with Ava throughout the project. We supported each other with scripting and marketing, where I would often write the drafts and she would refine and improve them. This collaboration made our work stronger and more polished. So overall, this experience showed me how important communication is in live production and how quickly things can become disorganized when information isn't shared clearly. As a broader production, I think the class actually functioned really well together. Producing a live show was just a big task in itself, and most people stepped up and supported each other when needed. Many students went beyond their assigned roles to help with technical issues, setup, rehearsals, and general problem solving. However, there were moments where some people preferred to work independently or wanted things done a certain way, which sometimes made collaboration more difficult. I think stronger communication across groups would have improved the overall workflow. If I were to do it again, I would suggest choosing a simpler segment idea. While our bus concept was creative and gave the show a strong narrative, it was quite time consuming and difficult to execute. A simpler format may have allowed more time for rehearsal and refinement. The biggest thing I've taken from this project is the importance of communication and preparation in live production. I learned that every small miscommunication can create confusion and impact the entire team. I also learned the importance of testing ideas before fully committing to them. Not everything works the way you imagine in theory, and trialing ideas early on is definitely essential. One of my favorite parts of the experience was being in the production environment and learning how everything operates behind the scenes. I especially enjoyed learning how the camera operation works and seeing how all the different roles work together to create the live broadcast. I also learned that teamwork and attitudes are just as important as the technical skills. When the team stays positive and supports each other, it makes the whole process a lot smoother and a lot more enjoyable. Moving forward, I will take these lessons into future media projects. I want to continue experimenting with creative ideas, but also make sure I plan more carefully and communicate more clearly with my team. Most importantly, I've learned that creative work is at its best when people collaborate well and enjoy the process. Thanks for watching.